Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Channel 7 newscast. Tonight, we're broadcasting live from the UTSA downtown campus, and I'm Mary Ellen Hanna.
And I'm Sarah Main.
I'm Tina Molden, and we'd like to give a special shout out to our camera person, Sarah Kruger.
Tonight, we have some interesting information to give to you. It's all about the ELART's 4th grade, and we are going to break those down for you and explain them out. And first, we're going to start off with Sarah Main and the 5 strands.
Sarah Main here. Thank you, Mary Ellen, for introducing me. So today I'm going to be talking about the 5 strands in the 4th grade Teks. I'm going to give a brief summary of what each strand means. So our first strand we have is the reading. In reading, students are expected to read a variety of different grade level texts while developing their skills in fluency and comprehension through various strategies. Next up, writing. Writing. Students are expected to practice using multiple writing process skills to compose text. Next is research. In research, students gather and display information to answer questions by exploring various resources. Number 4, listening and speaking. In listening and speaking, students will use their comprehension strategies to effectively communicate with others by listening and responding thoughtfully to conversations. And last, we have oral and written conventions. In oral and written conventions, students practice using the aspects of academic language in writing and in speech. Next up, we'll have Mary Ellen talking about the 2 difficult standards to teach. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah May, for that great introduction. In addition to what I'm going to talk about, 2 standards that are difficult to teach, I'm also going to talk about 5 that I find personally important. And the first one of those is reading fluency. It's Teks 4.1. And this is students are required to read clearly and understand it. The reason that this is so important is that it helps with comprehension, not only for everyday life, but to carry through their entire education process. Another standard, 4.2b, is very important. Students should figure out word meanings using context clues. This is a difficult one, but a very important. Say there's a word that they don't understand within the passage. They can use context clues around it to find its meaning. It also adds a deeper meaning of any text that they read. 4.3a, students should understand the theme, or what is the big picture. It's important for us to know what the author is trying to tell us. Is there a lesson involved with what we were reading? That's what the theme is all about. 4.8, students should understand figurative language. Not all text has a literary meaning, or a literal meaning, excuse me. So it's important for children to know what figurative language means. And lastly, 4.9, students should be able to read independently for 25 minutes. This is a very, very important skill to teach. And while it's very difficult because our time constraints as teachers, it's very hard to find a 25-minute period, but we want to instill in them the joy of reading and take that home, and hopefully they will be reading at home with their 25 minutes, because as they increase their education, more and more text reading is required of them, and we want them to find it enjoyable, and we want them to be successful as they're trying to read and comprehend. Now, for the 2 things that are awfully difficult sometimes to teach, one is inferencing. This is difficult because we can't teach people how to think. This is a skill that they have to find for themselves, and yet we can give them clues how to do it, but again, it is hard to teach somebody how to make you think the same as you. The next one is figurative language. This is difficult because not every student grows up in the same household or same environment. And throughout our country, everyone has different ways of saying things and meaning things. And so if a student isn't exposed to an idiom per se, and they are expected to know that meaning, they will have a difficult time understanding it if they have never been exposed. And next up, we have Tina Molden, and she's going to talk about...
So ladies, there seems to be a bit of confusion about the difference between readiness standards and supporting standards. So I'm going to try to clear that up right now.
Great job, Tina. Good.
So when you talk about readiness standards, these are the standards that are not only important, but they're absolutely essential for a student's success in the grade that they're currently in. And not only that, they're instrumental in helping to prepare them for the next grade. These are the standards that are beneficial for college preparation, for career preparation as well, and in-depth instruction is a must. On the other hand, when you're talking about the supporting standards, these supporting standards, they're important, but they're not vital to a student's success. These are the types of standards that may have been emphasized in a previous year and just kind of covered in the year that they're in, or they could be reinforced in the current year, and they might have received more emphasis in an earlier grade. But the bottom line is both are necessary. It's just that one is a little bit more important than the others, and so yeah.
And more important, why? Because they are part of the STAR test that the children have to prepare for?
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up. The readiness standards are the standards that are expected to be, that are testable, rather, and the supporting standards are not. So, thank you for helping me clear that up.
Thank you, we appreciate you. And now Sarah Main is going to discuss why there are so many standards that are not actually being tested.
Thank you, Mary Ellen, and thank you, Tina. So yes, I'm going to be talking about why there are some TEKS that are not being tested. So while all the standards are important, due to some time constraints and the varied student outcomes, it is difficult to teach all the standards that are listed. Standards such as conveying emotions, creating explanations, listening and speaking, as well as teamwork skills, are difficult to test because every student's individual learning process is different. Now, there are some serious consequences to this. Because these TEKS are not tested, they may not fall into the teacher's curriculum. Therefore, they will not be taught. And all of these standards, like we previously mentioned, are important for students to master so that they have these skills to carry with them in their further higher upper level grades. Thank you.
And that's our news report, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you for watching. We want you to tune in tomorrow night for some more in-depth review on the TEKS for 4th and 5th grade. I'm Mary Ellen Hanna.
And I'm Sarah Main.
And I'm Tina Molden.
Have a good night.
Thank you.